So I know just did a video talking about how should Perturabo return, but I figured, you know what, I've done 2 traitors, I might as well go back to doing a loyalist return video. And yeah, we're going to talk about the Kahn of Khans, Jagatai Kahn. So here's my video talking about how should Jagatai Kahn return. And when you really think about it, Jagatai would make a lot of sense to be the next Loyalist Primarch to return. Now, there is a lot of talk that it's going to be Russ that's returning later this year, but when you really think about it, Jagatai makes a lot more sense in that regard. Like, he really does make way more sense to appear than Lehman. Again, it's heavily rumored that Lehman Russ is the next Loyalist Primarch to return, but really, and I'll do a video talking about like how I'd like to see Lehman Russ return. I know I did a video talking about the rumors and whatnot along with Alfarius, but I figured it'd be kind of cool to talk about like Jagatai, because on a multitude of levels it makes way more sense for Jagatai to be the next Loyalist Primarch to return. So here we go. Starting off, as we know, first off, the White Scars desperately need the White Scars outside of the Raven Guard. The White Scars desperately need updates. They seriously need some updated stuff, because even like them and the Raven Guard are like the redheaded stepchildren of the Loyalist Space Marines. They are basically kind of cast to the wayside more often than I can think of. It's kind of depressing when you really think about it. So having Jagatai come back could really give the White Scars a major update. Not only that, story-wise, it makes the most sense for Jagatai to be the next Loyalist Primarch to return on so many levels. On one side, you really have to see the storyline of it, because Jagatai and and it really ties into Fulgrim, and I'll explain. Fulgrim and Jagatai did not like each other. Even before Fulgrim became, fell to Slaanesh, he and Jagatai really had it out for each other. Of course, the age-old, I hear you do strange things to your bikes, and Jagatai's response is, I hear you do strange things to your warriors. So the two have also, Jagatai said, like, yeah, if you want to sword fight me, we'll go. And I know how you fight because you crow it from the rooftops. However, you don't know how I fight because I know my skill and I don't have to boast about it 24/7. So the two do definitely have a rivalry there. On top of that, it actually ties in, so Jagatai coming back to help fight Fulgrim would make a lot of sense, and also, yes, they never really fought in the Horus Heresy. Jagatai really only had a fight with Mortarion, so it would be really cool to call back to the Horus Heresy novels, where Jagatai is just draws his sword and is like, I told you ages ago that I was the better swordsman. I'm going to prove it today. So you can have him and Fulgrim have that fight. Now, the next part of why I think why Jagatai should be the next Loyalist Primarch to return is because it deals with the Eldar. Multitude of reasons. One, Fulgrim has the Eldar, one of the Eldar Death Gods. So I know it has a different name, but it's basically one of the swords the Eldar need to resurrect their god of the Eldar God of Death. And it really does feel like we've been building to that. Between the Emperor's Children and all the updates for the Eldar, it really does feel like we're going to play with that to finally deal with that story arc this year or into the next. So it could easily be that may be the next big story arc with that. And we know that Jagatai has been in the webway for ages. Now, is he going to be older? I don't think so. I think the webway has a funny thing about it where the webway is kind of like the warp, where, time and space mean nothing. So it could be that he may have aged. I will say that. In the 10,000 years he's been missing, I will probably say that he has probably aged to some extent, but not to the level like, I do think we'll see, like, if he ever returns, I do imagine, or like to imagine, that it would be a Jagatai who has, like, some gray in his hair, a little older, a little more weathered, but not to the level Lion was. So, it could be that, yeah, the Eldar have been keeping Jagatai there in the warp for, just for this reason, to help them get the sword back. Now, do I think he's being mind controlled by the Eldar? No. I think it might be a thing with Gilliman, where Jagatai... You could easily have Jagatai be like, yeah, I've been rolling with the I've been getting that Eldar, that El Nussi for a while. That for a while, that man, that joke was awful. That Eldar cooch for a while, and it's actually pretty solid. I could see why you and Yvrain want to have your thing, Gilliman. And it would make a lot of sense. He's been in there for God knows how long, at first to fight the Eldar, but now it could be that he's just had some time to reflect on it. Now, could I see Jagatai being at odds with his brothers? No. Jagatai was probably one of the more forward-thinking, alongside Gilliman, when it came to dealing with with most situations. Although his forward-thinking was, I will protect my people first, and you will come second. If you don't like that, here's my sword. So I do think it would be like, and again, I can be totally wrong. That's the other thing with these, is that you really have to take in, like, this is all just a grain of salt and just how I imagine it. It may not even be true. Like, none of this could actually happen. But I do see that, like, if it would stand to reason that if Jagatai's been in, if the Kahn has been in there for as long as he has, I'm pretty sure either A, he's been kidnapped by the Eldar, which is possible. I think it's a solid possibility that the Eldar have been purposely keeping Jagatai in the warp for some, making him travel throughout the webway, trapped in the webway for, God knows how long, and, just let him out to fight Fulgrim. Again, that's a possibility that they're saving, keeping Jagatai there for a special occasion, whether that be to fight Fulgrim for them, under control or something. That's hard to say, but it could easily be that the Eldar have just been keeping him there because, or Jagatai's just been chilling out in the webway with the Eldar willingly. The Eldar are pretty sensible when it comes to negotiations. Depending on the craft world, that's a caveat, is that it's but. At the same time, I could easily see Jagatai being like, alright, I'm stuck here. Cool. So that could easily be the case, too, where Jagatai was first captured there, but now he's kind of like living alongside the Eldar, and he could easily return. And again, I think it would be a major boost to the White Scars, because God knows they need it. So yeah. Jagatai, thematically and narrative and Games Workshop thematics, narratively speaking, he makes more sense than Russ coming back. Jagatai makes way more sense coming back because, again, he has that tie to Fulgrim, he has that rivalry with Fulgrim, and, again, he's been in the webway, and the Eldar are clearly getting a big story boost very soon, and Fulgrim is a part of that. So it just makes so much sense. But you guys tell me in the comments below, how should Jagatai Kahn return to Warhammer 40k? I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say. I know I've already gone through 4, like now counting this video, 4 Primarchs. But hey, there's still a few more left. So yeah, just comment below, let me know. And I might do, I'm not going to do for this series like Ferrus Manus or Conrad Kurz or the confirmed dead ones. I might do one talking about why I don't want Sanguinius back, but other than that, yeah, I'm just going to talk about the Primarchs that definitely could return to the series. But anyway, just comment below, let me know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.